Welcome back, it's me Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. If you're a first time visitor to my channel, welcome. I have lots of great content, so go feel free to check that out. If you are a returning subscriber or viewer, thanks again for dropping on by, I greatly appreciate it. So for today's video, it's August 6th, 2021, and we are taking a look at this. This is Ninja Tech Snake Eyes, and this is from Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, and this is from the Hasbro budget line. This isn't to be confused with their G.I. Joe Classified series. The budget toys come on these bubbles and cards, and the figures are smaller in scale, and they're aimed at kids 4 and up. So these aren't a premium item at all. These are budget action figures. This one I got at Target for $10.99. But what was surprising is that when I went to the price checker, the price checker gave me the online price of $9.99. But then when I actually went to go check this out myself, the in-store price was different, and that was $10.99. So I don't know what's going on. In the past, the Hasbro, the budget line of toys, whether it was Avengers or Spider-Man or like Gamerverse, those are always priced like under $10. I've heard stuff about like, that there's going to be price increases for like Black Series and Marvel Legends. So that might be the case for the budget stuff too. For me, it's kind of sad. I love the idea of paying, under $10 for an action figure and getting all these fun accessories. But if this is the new trend, I can't really argue against it. But this is the budget Snake Eyes, and let's give this thing a look. So, as I've stated previously, this is in the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins toy line for the budget ones. But this figure, it doesn't represent Snake Eyes as he looks in the film at all. It's kind of like, whenever there's like a new Batman movie that comes out and, they'll release like 1 million Batman figures. For example, like way back in the day, there was like Batman Returns. And then, they'd give you like 50 Batman figures. And it'd be impossible to find like just the plain normal looking Batman. There'd always be some sort of weird like variation on the Batman theme and costume. There might be like, like Arctic Batman, Street Avenger Batman, like high-tech Batman. And it'd almost be the same character, but just like repainted with different accessories. That's the case here. So with the budget line, there's Ninja Tech Snake Eyes, and there's also the plain Snake Eyes, where he just looks, in his full black uniform. Unfortunately for me, that's the one everyone wants, so I was kind of stuck just getting this guy, because this is the only one I saw on the shelves. But I don't mind so much, because I have so many like black costume Snake Eyes out the wazoo, especially from like collecting like the 80s figures and the figures that came out in the 90s and the 2000s. So even though I got the gray Snake Eyes, I don't mind it so much. It's a variation. He looks kind of cool with the gray and the neon blue and stuff. And another thing of note is that the two different Snake Eyes, each one comes with different accessories also. So I believe the plain Snake Eyes comes with different accessories, whereas the Ninja Tech one, he comes with like, I think the size and I believe a sickle. All right, let's get cracking. All right, so one thing I love about the budget line is that I love the package design. I say this all the time with these budget figures. I love a carded figure with a bubble. For me, part of collecting toys isn't always just about the figure. It's also about the entire experience. Like for me, to rip a bubble off a card takes me back to my childhood. It's like when I was younger, whether it was like a Toy Biz figure or like a Star Wars figure on a card or a G.I. Joe or He-Man figure. There's something very nostalgic and I get the feels just ripping the bubble off the card. I don't know what it is. If you grew up during that time period, you probably relate to me. It's very different nowadays if you're an older collector, because chances are you're into like Marvel Legends and Black Series, and you get these nicely boxed figures. But then if you want to open them, you got to cut the tape very carefully and slide that tray out, because you don't want to wreck the package, because you might want to put it back in the box and display it later. But for these budget figures, the minute you rip the bubble off the card, it's like a commitment to play with the toy. And I just love that idea. So going back to this, the package, very eye-catching. The package design's great. I love the color scheme, the red, the black, the kind of like silver. It's very eye-catching when you're walking down the toy aisle. You know, when you see it, it really sticks out from the other G.I. Joe stuff. You know, with the classified series, you know, that comes on in those blue packages, where this one's the complete opposite. This is going for the warmer colors, so the red really kind of screams at you. And even though this is a budget toy, it kind of like, you know, you see this on the shelf, it's like, just buy me. I'm new, I'm G.I. Joe, I'm Snake Eyes, you know you want to buy me, even though I'm a budget figure. So here we have Snake Eyes. The logo looks cool. You know, you have the Arashikage clan symbol up in the corner. The warnings, you know, this isn't for kids under the ages of 3. It's for 4 and up. You have a nice portrait of Snake Eyes here. And we have the figure proudly displayed in his tray with his accessories surrounding him. And there's so many accessories you can't even see them all. That's awesome. On the back, there's some photography of the figure. Here he is, dual wielding his sais. He has his katana sheathed in. It shows here that the weapons, there's some like connectability, so you can like attach them together. And it shows here his play feature. You turn his waist one way, and then it snaps back the other. So I believe this guy has a spring-loaded waist, which is a cool play feature if you're a kid. I say this all the time about like the package design. I hate it when when so much of the package is just dedicated to all this like legalese and copyright info. I miss the days of when they'd give you like a small like catalog of all the other figures in the wave, and like a brief like bio card, you know, that give you the character's like name and his abilities and his perks and like background information. But you know, the fig photography is cool. This looks like more of a render than an actual photograph of the real toy, just because it's so clean. And this is pretty cool. I didn't catch this before. And you have the initial Snake Eyes, you have the S and the E, and it looks wild. Alright, let's take this guy out. And there we go. I'm taken back to my childhood, ripping that bubble off the card. It feels awesome. Cool ghosted image of Snake Eyes, and there's an explosion and fire, and he's like running through it because he's badass. And then here's the insert. More legalese stuff. Okay, first impressions of the action figure in the tray. Excited. Really, really excited. The budget toys are cool. I know that, you know, for a lot of collectors, a lot of people, you know, they kind of turn away when it comes to the budget line, you know, whether it's like the budget superhero stuff. And I can understand why, you know, why would you want to spend $9 or $10 on a budget figure when you can spend $20 on a much more premium, like, collectible, like a Marvel Legends or a G.I. Joe Classified. But I'm always telling people, you know, don't sleep on these budget figures. Every now and then, they'll surprise you. The articulation on the budget figures, Hasbro's been really pushing that a little bit more. You know, they're giving us more articulation. Even in the case of the paint applications, they're giving us a little bit more paint. And they're not shy in some cases about the accessories. Like for, you know, a $9 or $10 figure, look at this tray. You're getting 2 sais, you're getting 2 sickles, you're getting a sword plus a sheath to keep it in. That's a lot for a budget figure. I mean, there's Marvel Legends figures where all you get is just the figure, you know. And this is cool too, because even though this is a smaller scale, you know, you can incorporate these weapons in your other 6-inch lines. You know, you want to give your like foot soldiers more weapons, or your like your ninja figures like in the hand more size, or sickles or whatever. You know, you can easily incorporate these into like Marvel Legends or your NECA Turtles. It's cool. But right off the bat, really impressed with what I'm seeing here on the tray. And let's take out the figure. So we have Snake Eyes, Ninja Tech Snake Eyes. And let's remove his weapons. And let's display his weapons in that cool kind of like loadout pose where, you know, you get to display the figure and you get to see what he's loaded out with. So he has his katana. He has his sheath for the katana right here. It's a little warped, but nothing that some warm water could fix. You know, you just dip this in like a mug of boiling water, and you can like rebend it. He has two sides. The sides look a little crazy because they have this giant socket at the bottom, but that's alright. I can forgive that. We have another sigh. He has his sickles here. So if you're not about the budget figures, but if I'm like slowly turning you onto them by like showing you off all this cool stuff and arranged in this cool loadout pose, you know. All right. So we have Ninja Tech Snake Eyes. Let's examine the figure up close. So as I've stated before, I think this is a repaint of the black one. I won't know until I get it. But my best guess is the sculpting and the detail, it's beautiful. They don't need to go this far for the budget figures, you know. There's really fine micro textures along his uniform. All these straps and holsters and seams, and all the seams and everything about it. The sculpting's really well done. A lot of high definitions, deep cutted. Same with the visor. There's some slight mold imperfections, to be honest, in the visor and on the helmet. A couple of small little folds and creases, but that's forgivable. It could have been cleanly... I mean, the mold on the visor especially could have been a little bit more cleaner. Like if you see here, there's a couple of nicks and scratches, but that's okay. It looks awesome. So yeah, I mean, they're a little bit more increase in color palette for the budget figure. It looks like it's predominantly a kind of like a silver gray base plastic. But then there's like the black accents on the armor. You have the red for the Rashikage clan logo on his arm. It's almost like a neon baby blue for the visor and on his torso. There's some pinstriping underneath his chest and in his abs. The knees, they're painted. Now they didn't need to go this far at all. But his knees, it's, you know, they could have left this gray, but instead there's a nice silver paint on the knee with a black trim around it, neon blue in the middle, and then black shin guards. As I've stated earlier, really fine and clean texture on his uniform. Yeah, this is beautiful. Now, in terms of articulation, his head, I believe, is on a ball joint, so it rotates and it can move up and down a little bit, not too much. Now, since this is a budget figure, you know, I think the first thought for a lot of people is that the articulation is limited. Now, Hasbro, they've been gradually increasing the amount of articulation in their budget lines. It's very evident if you've like picked up like an Avengers Mech Strike figure, or even like the Avengers Game Reverse figures that were out like maybe like a year or two ago. So for this guy, you know, he could rotate his arm. They could go out. Now, he doesn't have a bicep cut, but what he doesn't have in a bicep cut, he makes up for in his elbow joint. So his elbow joint could bend, but it also allows for swivel. Now, unfortunately, wrist articulation isn't present in the budget figures, but that's alright. That's forgivable. He has a waist swivel, but since this is a budget toy and it's aimed at kids, there's some playability in it because it's spring-loaded, which I think is a fun play feature. If you're a more serious collector, you're probably going to scoff at that or not care much for it. But if you're a kid, I think it's a cool thing to have. So that's neat. It's really cool. Leg articulation, he could kick up. And then he could like super kick out. You know, some of the earlier budget figures, you know, they only allowed for like this range of movement. It's cool that they're allowing us to actually go outwards so he can do the splits. He does not have a thigh cut, but I think just like the elbows, he makes up for it in his elbow articulation or his knee articulation. So his knees will bend. It's only one jointed, but it allows to like kick out. So, you know, if you want to pretend he's dancing, you can like dance. Unfortunately, there's no ankle articulation, and for whatever reason, with these budget GI Joe figures, they give you the largest hole ever in their foot. I don't know what display stand has a peg this large? I've never seen a peg that large for like a foothold. This is like the size of a pencil. It's ridiculous. But it's there. I don't know why. Maybe in the future they're going to give us some sort of crazy vehicle or play set where it was going to, like, you know, this figure would fit on that display stand or peg. But yeah, look at the size of that peg hole. It is giant. You know, for example, here's Snake Eyes from the Classified series. There's his peg hole, and then look at that. It's like giant. I don't know what display stand has a peg that large. So the figure, this really nice figure. Even though this isn't the traditional Snake Eyes in the all-black uniform, for me it's cool. I don't mind. I have so many Snake Eyes in all-black uniforms that this is refreshing. And I'm not just saying that because I don't have the black one. I'll have the black one eventually, but for now this is kind of cool. I kind of dig it. And if you're a customizer, you know, just swap the head off, erase the logo, and you can easily pretend this is like another figure for, like, you know, something else. Because I think it's a great base body, albeit it's a little bit shorter. You know, the budget figures are about 5 to 5.5 inches tall versus, you know, Marvel Legends or Classified, which are 6 inches. For example, here's Classified Snake Eyes. As you can see, he's much taller. You know, about half an inch or more. But don't sleep on these figures. I think they're wonderful. Even though the price increased by $1, I still think they're worth it. Even for the accessories alone, that's great. It's awesome that he comes with a sword and a sheath. You know, they didn't need to go that far and give us a sheath for it, but they do. And there's a peg. And I love the fact that you can store it on the body of the character. That's wonderful. He comes with a pair of size. It's kind of a turnoff that they have these really ridiculously large bases at the handle. But that serves some functionality because if you're a kid, it's cool because there's some playability where you can put them together with the sickle. I think what I would have appreciated more, I think, is if one of the size had a longer handle without the base, and you just have the socket at one end. Because for me, it makes more sense to attach the two sides together to give me a longer, like, bladed staff versus giving me this kind of weapon. It's cool that they do that, but I don't know. It's awesome though that they give us 2 of each weapon. I love the idea of Snake Eyes being able to, like, dual wield, you know, a sai in each hand, like so. If I go get this hand open. Yeah, so I think this is awesome. You know, it's like he's auditioning for, like, Raphael's job on the Turtles. That's right. Raph has the size, right? What is it again? Donatello has the bow staff. Leonardo has the sword, has the 2 katanas. Michelangelo has the nunchucks. And Raphael has the size. I think that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm kind of hazy right now, so. And then he comes with these. I love these things. You kind of like sickles or, like, I don't know, those things mountain climbers use to dig into the side of cliffs. And the idea of this as a weapon, it, like, terrifies me because these. I mean, if you think about it, if Snake Eyes went into battle with these, the whole purpose of the, I mean, it looks like these are meant for climbing. You know, he's climbing the side of a cliff or mountain. You know, he digs in and climbs up. But the idea of using a weapon like this against, like, another human being is horrifying. Because not only is it going to gouge and stab the person, but, you know, you could potentially slit their throats. And you could, like, eviscerate their, like, bowels and colon and insides and all sorts of crazy stuff. So it's I don't know. It's just wild that, you know, for a toy for a kid ages 4 and up, that he comes in with these, like, crazy weapons that are meant to, like, disembowel his enemies. You know, it makes more sense to me if this is, like, aimed at kids 4 and up, and he comes with, like, a laser gun. Because, you know, you shoot someone with a laser gun, they just kind of, like, fall over and die. You know, chances are with a laser gun, it might pierce their skin or something. But when you're talking about bladed weapons like swords and sickles and sais, you're talking about maiming another human being. You know, it's gonna, like, eviscerate them. It's gonna, like, amputate parts of them. So it's just wild to think that, you know, that we're making these fun toys for kids, and I mean, I have no problem with the idea of like all these crazy martial arts characters just like going to town on each other and like stabbing each other, but the fact that this is for kids ages 4 and up, it's like, oh, how are you gonna play with your toys? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna like stab him and disembowel him. So yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I think that's part of the attraction. So yeah, this is Snake Eyes, Ninja Tech budget Snake Eyes. And if we had to compare him to like, all right, so this figure, he's not meant to compare with these classified figures. So, you know, you can hate on this figure as much as you want for being a budget figure, but it's not meant to compare with this. You know, the classified is always going to be a superior figure. This is a price, like a cheaper price alternative for like a parent. You know, parent, if your child saw the Snake Eyes movie and loved it, you know, for whatever reason, you know, they'll get them this. You know, a parent's going to go, hey, I'll buy you a $9 Snake Eyes toy. I'm not going to buy you like the $20 to $25 one, which is cool. You know, dad could come home with classified Snake Eyes, and little Billy or little Sally could come home with the cheaper figure. Now, if you ask me which one do I want to play with, I think, honestly, I'd say this guy. This guy's cool. I love this guy to death. Don't get me wrong. The classified stuff's awesome. But, you know, he feels more like a premium collectible, which is, I don't mind. But some of these figures, with all their articulation, sometimes they get kind of loosey-goosey, and then stuff just starts wiggling around kind of funny. But, I don't know. There's something about the toy stuff. I just love the toys. It's really cool. So, yeah, there's a height difference between these guys. You know, the classified is going to be superior in articulation. I have the budget bareness here so you can see that. I have it in a sandwich baggie because I don't want to lose all the accessories before I like throw it into a bin or something. So yeah, here's budget bareness for height comparison. Roughly the same height. And she's cool too. She has all the articulation that Snake Eyes has, and she even has that swivel waist with a spring-loaded feature. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the review on this video, check it out. I love this figure. This is a great figure. It's no substitute for the Classified series bareness, but it's just a cool figure. You know, she's awesome. I love the color scheme. As I stated in the other video, you know, if you could do a head swap, you could easily make like a female Cobra infantry trooper with this body. It's really, really cool. Don't sleep on this figure. Of all the figures that I've seen, this is my favorite from the budget line. Until the Scarlet one comes out. I saw the Scarlet one, and that one looks really awesome. So yeah, this is cool. What else was I gonna say? I think I said all there's to say about this guy. This guy's awesome. If you see the budget G.I. Joe stuff, you know, don't sleep on it. They're really cool. It's unfortunate that if there is that price trend where these are going up in price by $1, you know, that's kind of unfortunate. But at the same time, don't let it deter you from, you know, at least giving this guy a look-see. It's nice. Nice paint application, great accessories, great articulation. Even though there's a scale discrepancy, you know, you can't really... I mean, I don't care for scale too much. Like, for me, if I threw this on my shelf with my classified guys, I wouldn't care. I know some people don't like to mix and match, but you're talking to a guy who has no problem, like, mixing my, like, 90s Power of the Force figures with my, like, 2020, like, vintage collection dudes. So, yeah, I highly recommend this guy. He's awesome. So, let's wrap this up. Once again, my name is Lou. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Check out all my other videos. If you're a returning subscriber, you know, thanks again for coming by. Leave comments, leave stories. I love hearing about other people's adventures and collecting toys, whether it's like, you know, reminiscing about your old G.I. Joes, or like what you hate about the new ones, or what you love about like toy collecting in general. I love this, being able to talk about that stuff. So until the next time, take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye.